We are going to continue our second steps lesson. If you remember last week, our second steps lesson taught us about making sure that we are using active listening and focusing attention. So listening and focusing attention. We're going to continue on with a new skill this week, and then you'll have a short assignment to complete on Seesaw. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen sound with you. Beautiful. All right, here we go.
This is the second week of our Second Steps lessons. Remember, Second Steps will give us skills to pay attention and focus during learning, as well as how to get along with others. Last week, we learned about 2 skills for learning: listening and focusing attention. We learned that listening requires you to focus on the speaker, wait your turn to speak, remember what you hear, and think about questions. It's a very active process. It's not simply hearing with your ears. We also learned about focusing our attention. This requires you to concentrate, use your eyes, ears, and brain, and ignore distractions. Let's talk about that last word, distractions. These are all around us. Take some time to look at these pictures and discuss what are some distractions that you see with your class.
All right, so what are some distractions that you see? If you have an idea, let's try something. Go ahead and click unmute and start talking. Let's see if we can handle that now that we've been on a few weeks. What are distractions? What does that mean? What's a distraction? Go ahead, guys. Aiden G.
A distraction is something that tries to annoy you.
Okay, they can be annoying. Aiden G, something to add?
It's something that some people do, and you just have to ignore it to do what you need to focus on.
Okay, so it can involve people. So Leah said it can be something annoying. You're adding that distractions can be people. Okay, what more? What are distractions, or what are some examples of distractions? Some of you are looking a little distracted right now. Go ahead and click unmute. What's a distraction, an example of one, or what does it mean? Angel, go ahead.
One example is people making noise.
Okay, so different noises can be distractions as well. Maybe we need it quiet for us to focus. Very good. All right, let's continue on.
As we talked about, distractions can come in many forms: technology, people, or even our environment. Sometimes distractions come from our own head. This week, we're going to talk about a skill for learning called self-talk. Self-talk is a focusing strategy that happens inside of your head. They're often phrases that you tell yourself to help you remain focused on whatever it is that you're working on. This is Omar. Omar is trying to work on his book report, but distractions are making it hard for him to stay focused and remain on task. Think about what you see in this picture. What are some distractions that Omar is facing? Turn and tell your partner.
Let's have a conversation about that. Go ahead and try that again. Let's go ahead and click unmute if you see some distractions that Omar might be facing. What distractions are around him here? Go ahead and click unmute, guys.
The girl talking,
Okay.
and everybody else talking.
I can see he kind of has that annoyed face right there too. Yep. What other distractions do we see?
The boy that's by him that's talking to him.
Yeah. So classmates that are talking when he's trying to work and focus. Good. What about what's going on in the background? How do you think this classroom sounds right now? Look at what's going on back here and back here. What might be happening?
I think that the classmates are yelling and he's trying to read.
Okay, so it might be a noisy environment. All the way around the room might be loud, not just this person talking. Okay, What about all over the walls? What could be distracting about that? Take a look at the walls. What could be distracting there? Any ideas?
The colors.
Yeah. So sometimes if you need to be able to focus on one thing, but there's so many cool things to look at all the way around you, right? It's a newer place. That can be distracting as well. So distractions are not just our people around us. They can also be our environment or our surroundings. Okay, very good. Let's continue on.
Omar is having trouble staying focused and on task because of the distractions. You may have had some same distractions in other lessons during our class. Think about what you said to yourself when you felt those distractions. Turn and tell your partner some things that you said to yourself to ignore distractions.
So what are some things that in your head you've said when you've been facing distractions? So for example, I'll give mine. When I'm facing a distraction at home, let's say that I'm trying to work, but the television is on and my dogs are barking. In my head, I tell myself, okay, 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes. I give myself a time of how long I'm going to work before I can address a distraction. So that's one thing that I say in my head, 10 more minutes, I can do this, 10 more minutes. What are some things that you guys have said when you face distractions? Some things that you said in your head.
Ignore the other stuff.
Okay, so you actually tell yourself in your head, ignore this. All right, what more? What are some other things that you guys say when you face distractions?
Go somewhere else.
Okay, so you might tell yourself, I'm going to be working better in a different room. So you can tell yourself to go do that. Awesome. What more? What else do we say in our heads when we have distracting people or environments? Kimberly, go ahead. What do you say when there's distractions going on around you?
I'll just say, stop hearing this, just concentrate and look at my work,
Okay, so you actually tell yourself, stop
look
hearing
at
that.
them.
Good. So stay focused on what you're doing, whatever task you have to complete. Very good. All right, let's continue on.
Some of you were able to focus your attention despite the distractions because you told yourself to concentrate on the speaker's voice or on the task at hand. You used self-talk. You talk to yourself in your head or out loud in a very quiet voice that others can't hear. Telling yourself to focus attention on the most important thing can help you stay focused and remain on task. Think about what self-talk you would ask Omar to use. Turn and tell your neighbor your ideas.
All right, what self-talk would you tell Omar to use? So when Omar's facing all these distractions, what advice would you give him? What advice would you tell Omar here? Go ahead and click on mute. What self-talk would you tell Omar to use? What should he tell himself?
Just go to a different place or like ignore what they're saying.
Okay, yeah, so move. If you've been at Indian Creek, you might be using Tim, right? Ignore the distraction, move away. Okay, what else? What else could Omar be thinking in his head? What advice would you give to him? Aiden, go ahead, bud. Aiden Leachman, sorry for say which one.
I gotta go use the restroom.
Okay, we're in class right now. What else could Omar say if he were having distractions? What advice would you give him? And Tom, what do you think? What would you tell Omar if he were in this situation? Remember to unplug your headphones because they don't have a microphone, so we couldn't hear. Go ahead.
You can tell your friends to not talk anymore
Okay,
so
so
they can pay attention.
So that would be an example of how to help others for sure, because we right here are talking about ourself, okay? So this is what we would say to ourselves, but we could help ourselves by saying to others. Let's continue on learning about self-talk.
Self-talk helps you ignore distractions so you can stay focused on a task. Omar used self-talk to help himself ignore the distractions. He is able to stay focused and get his book report done. Respectful learners use self-talk. When you use self-talk, you might say things like, focus, ignore it. What do I do next? Calm down. Take some time to think about what self-talk you will try this week to help you remain focused and on task. Use the sentence frame to tell your partner your ideas. In my head, I will tell myself.
All right, let's hear a few examples from this. What self-talk will you use this week? I'll share mine. In my head, I will tell myself, the faster I get done, the more time I can have with my family. So that helps me to stay focused because I know if I get distracted and pick up my phone, or if I watch TV, or if I talk to my friend, then I'm not getting as much time with my family. So in my head, I will tell myself, the harder you work, the more time you get with your family. That's my self-talk. What about you guys? What are some self-talks that you'll use? There's some examples here on the screen. There's also going to be some that you might come up with on your own that no one has heard before. What do you think? Go ahead, Anton. What self-talk will you use?
Okay. Pay attention to your work.
Good. So you're going to tell yourself, pay attention to your work. Pay attention. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. What else? What self-talk can we use?
You can say to yourself, the faster I get done, I can play games with my family.
Nice. So the more I stay focused, meaning the faster I get done, I get to go play after this. That can be motivating to help us remain on task. Great. What other self-talks can we use? What can you tell yourself in your head when you're feeling distractions? I'm seeing a lot of gray screens right now, so my internet might be unstable, so I'm going to continue on here.
This week, as you continue on in your learning, try to use self-talk. Perhaps you could try to use a different phrase each day to see which one works best for you. Remember, respectful learners do get distracted, but they also use self-talk to help them remain on task.
All right. You have a Seesaw assignment that has been released to you not too long ago that looks like this. It says Second Steps, Unit 1, Lesson 2. This video, number 1, watch the video. We've already done this, okay? Number 2, discuss the questions with someone around you. We've done that too. Number 3, use the label or pencil to complete the template by recording what self-talk phrase you'll try this week. Use the mic to record yourself saying why you think this phrase will work for you. Turn in your work by clicking the check. So I'm going to go ahead and add mine as an example. Choose the self-talk phrase from the poster or come up with one on your own. Write the phrase below and record yourself explaining why you chose this phrase. I'm going to use the label tool. So my self-talk phrase to try is, the more you focus, the faster I'm struggling to type, will be done. The more you focus, the faster you will be done. That's what I've been telling myself in my head. The more focused I say, the faster I'm going to be done with my work. Okay? This is the self-talk phrase that I'm going to try. I'd like for you to tell me what phrase you're going to try and then record yourself. So now I'm going to explain. The more you focus, the faster you will be done is a good phrase for me because I'm very motivated to have more time with my family. So the faster I get done with my work, the more time I'll be able to have with my family. And I'm going to get faster by focusing, not by rushing. And now I can listen to that when I turn it in to my teacher. I'm going to click this check. And my work has been turned in. It says my internet's a little slow. There we go. My work is turned in, okay? You're going to take 5 minutes to complete your self-talk phrase while you're on Zoom with me and record yourself explaining why that phrase is important to you. So in your activities, you will see it right here, Second Steps, Unit 1, Lesson 1. Second Steps, Unit 1, Lesson 1. Please go ahead and complete that now in the background. I'm going to come back to you. If you did not get done, this is a perfect example of something that you can complete when we are not on Zoom, right? So when we're not on Zoom, remember, it's not just break time. It's not time for you to do whatever you feel like. It's time for you to continue working on schoolwork of some kind. So right now, I want you to pause. If you didn't finish, click that orange check mark, and that will save your work as a draft so that you can come back to it later. So if you didn't finish, click that orange check mark as a draft. It will save your work. Okay? All right.